One of the first things people usually want to see in Berlin is the Brandenburg Gate, which is symbolic of the city. Another hot item is the Berlin Wall, and at the Topography of Terror, a short walk from Brandenburg Gate, you can see one of the longest continuous sections of the wall remaining in its original location. Although it seems strange to see a memorial here to Soviet soldiers who died in World War II, it was erected in 1945 when all of Berlin was under Soviet control. Alexanderplatz is the biggest and one of the best known public squares in all of Berlin. It was named after Russian Tsar Alexander I, who visited in 1805. It's an important transportation hub for the S-Bahn, the U-Bahn, the regional trains, the trams, and the buses. They all stop here. It first became an important hub in 1882 when a railroad station opened here. This attracted local farmers to come sell their produce, which in turn, a few years later, in 1886, caused a public market to open, increasing the popularity of Alexanderplatz. Then in 1911, they opened a department store, and that increased commercial business in the area, making Alexanderplatz Berlin's main shopping district. Walking through Alexanderplatz, we come to Rotes Rathaus, the Red City Hall of Berlin. There's a nice pedestrian mall here that seems like an extension of Alexanderplatz. On the edge of it, near the street called Unter den Linden, is Marienkirche, St. Mary's Church, which is one of the oldest church buildings remaining in Berlin. Having been moved to its current location from the Berlin City Palace, Neptune Brunnen, or Neptune Fountain, is located next to St. Mary's Church. And it is fairly close to Berlin's famous TV antenna. In another part of Alexanderplatz, you come to the Friendship Fountain, formerly called the Fountain of Friendship Among Nations. The fountain was built in 1970 to reflect the optimistic internationalist ideals of the East German people, symbolizing friendship among different nations and people. There are many restaurants nearby. I decided to have some pork knuckle and dark beer. The world clock in Alexanderplatz was created in 1969 and quickly became a popular meeting spot and landmark in East Berlin. The world clock displays the current time in major cities across 24 time zones, with a rotating cylindrical structure that shows the names of many of these cities worldwide. It also has become a popular venue for musical entertainers. Ahead of me on the left is the Berlin Cathedral, and the royal palace used to be across the street from it. Since they are on an island in the river, the palace bridge used to connect the mainland to the palace. And there's a beautiful view from the palace bridge of the River Spree right next to the Berlin Cathedral. Berliner Dom, as the Berlin Cathedral is known in German, is not actually a cathedral, but it is the principal church of the German Evangelical Lutheran Church. Museum Island is a UNESCO World Heritage Site consisting of 5 large museums and the Berlin Cathedral. Museum Island also has a large grassy space with a fountain. It makes a nice setting for a picnic or to take a break from sightseeing on a sunny day. Across the street is Humboldt Forum, a reconstruction of the Berlin Palace. Friedrichswürde Church was completed in 1830. It originally served a growing Protestant community in the city, but it was severely damaged during World War II and was not restored until the 1980s. After extensive restoration, it reopened in 1987 as a museum dedicated to Berlin's 19th century sculptures. The Victory Column was completed in 1871 and celebrates Germany's war victory in the years 1863, 1866, and 1871. It originally stood in front of the Reichstag, or Parliament building, and its current location is known as Große Stern, or Great Star. It is not uncommon to see street performers trying to earn some tips. And when you tip them,
Dankeschön.
they are grateful. Close to the Victory Column, and not far from Brandenburg Gate, Tiergarten Park was originally the royal hunting grounds, but in the 18th century, King Frederick II converted it into a public park. Tiergarten's Rose Garden is a hidden gem in Berlin with colorful roses and peaceful paths, a perfect escape near the city's landmarks. Deeper inside Tiergarten, these sculptures were made in 1900 and were installed around the beginning of the 20th century. Each of these animals was modeled after animals found at the George Washington National Monument in Philadelphia. The monument to the composers Beethoven, Haydn, and Mozart was commissioned by Kaiser Wilhelm II and completed and unveiled in 1904. During the decades while Berlin was divided, the monument was in a very isolated location until the fall of the Berlin Wall. It was fully restored and unveiled in 2007, which returned the monument to its former glory, preserving the intricate details and re-establishing it as a cultural landmark. Thank you for watching. Thank you for traveling along with me. As always, I appreciate your support. Until next time, tschüss, auf Wiedersehen, bye bye.